Hi everybody, in today's video, I am going to show you the cheapest and easiest thing to bring to your next party that is going to look like you went and bought it from a very expensive bakery. This weekend we were invited to a pool party, so it's going to be one of those parties with all ages. There's going to be grandparents on one of them, there's going to be little children, and there's going to be people of all ages. And it's going to be outdoors, and I was asked to bring dessert. When I host a party and everyone's bringing something, I am so appreciative of people that show up without needing anything from me. The people that walk in and say, do you have a bowl that I can dump the salad in? Do you have a knife that I can cut this up? That's just like, I have enough. You're just supposed to come and make it easier for me. I don't want you coming and demanding things of me. So when I go to someone's house and they've asked me to bring something, I want it to be something that is going to be just easy, just put it out, done. So I thought, since I was asked to bring dessert, cupcakes would be a really simple thing. They're good for little kids, adults like them. And then I thought maybe I'll just go to nothing but cakes, because a friend of mine had brought that to one of our Mahjong parties and everyone really liked it. And then I thought, you know, cupcakes are the easiest thing to make. And the price, I think, for a dozen at Nothing But Cakes was like $30, $28, I think. You know, add the tax, whatever, you're probably at $30 for 12. So there's gonna be a lot of people. I need to bring a lot more than 12. So I thought I'll make them myself, and this is how I did it. And it's gonna taste fantastic. So first of all, start with a box cake. I have made so many cakes in my life, and nothing comes out as moist and delicious than a box cake. And you can get them in every single flavor. I just got a chocolate flavor and a vanilla flavor. From those two boxes, I have oodles and doodles of cupcakes. I made some regular size cupcakes and I made some mini size cupcakes. So the cupcake holders, I think, are kind of important. I got these for the bigger ones, and I got these little ones for the mini ones. And mini ones are great for people that don't really, they're trying to watch their weight. They don't want a lot, but they want a little taste, and they're great for little kids because little kids do not really finish a whole cupcake. So these little mini ones, I think, are just a great way to go, especially if you have little children around. So this is how I do it. I bake the cupcakes and I stick them in the freezer. So I'm not doing everything all in one day, all at once. Then on another day, I do the frosting. And this is what makes them, I think, more special and more delicious than getting them from just a bakery that does regular cupcakes. Those cupcakes usually have a buttercream frosting, maybe different flavors, lemon flavor, or they'll come in different flavors. But you can make such delicious frostings. Personally, how I did it was I made 3 different kinds of frostings. I made each frosting on a different day, piped the frozen cupcakes, stuck them back in the freezer. So the first recipe I made was a cream cheese frosting. It's so simple. It's like cream cheese, powdered sugar, and maybe vanilla. I'll leave the recipes in the description box, but you know how Pinterest works. Just pick any recipe you're in the mood for, and you will find a recipe. But I will leave the recipes that I use. The next frosting I used was the whipped cream frosting. I love a whipped cream frosting. I don't like frosting, but whipped cream frosting I do tend to like because it's light, it's not very sweet, and what you really need to do to make it more stable so that it's pipeable is you have to add a little something to it. So what I added was about 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin with some water. You just mix that in. So while you are whipping your whipped cream frosting, the gelatin is just gonna sit. It's gonna gelatize. So what you do is you put it into the microwave as soon as you're done whipping your frosting, and about 7 seconds it's gonna liquefy. And then you just fold it into your whipped cream, and that's gonna stabilize it and make it pipeable. And then the last frosting that I made is a little more work. So the other 2 frostings take minutes. They do not take any time. The piping is so quick and so easy to do as well. And it's satisfying because it looks really pretty. But the last one I did was a salted caramel, because it kind of is a big crowd pleaser for those folk that love something really sweet. So you do have to put it on the stove, and you have to watch it, and you have to keep your eye on it, and you have to keep stirring it. It doesn't really take that long, but you start with just a cup of sugar, and then you just, nothing else, you just put that on the stove. That's why you gotta keep a good eye on it, and it's gonna clump up, but then it starts to liquefy, and then when it liquefies, you add in the cream and the butter, and you just whip it all up, and then you need to leave it in the fridge for, I think, several hours. After it has sat in the fridge for several hours, you put it into the mixer, you mix it up, you whip it up, and it should become stable enough to put into a piping bag. If it isn't, I would say to maybe, if you want it even sweeter, you could add a little, but a little, maybe just a quarter of a cup of powdered sugar, or you could put something like, maybe just like some cornstarch, just to sort of thicken it up and give it more stability. And then that helps it to pipe just a little bit easier. And then that one, I think I will just decorate with a little bit of coarse salt to give it that salted caramel taste. And then when I go to frost them, I use a piping bag, which is just a plastic bag. You can get them so cheap on Amazon. You put in one of these piping tips just to give it a little bit of design, and it looks very professional. I actually did mine really quickly. It was a little awkward because I was trying to do it with the camera, but you can do a much better job than I did, and they're just gonna look so professional and so beautiful. And I'll also link everything I got on Amazon. I will link that also below in the description box. And then the next thing I did was I got these boxes, and they are specifically made for cupcakes. So they come with this inside, so it keeps the cupcakes in place, which I think is important because when you're transporting cupcakes, they sort of fall all over and the icing will get kind of smushed. So when you put them in these boxes, they stay put, and then the frosting stays perfectly in place. I actually put the cupcakes in there and I frost them in there, so I'm not touching them after they're frosted. And then if you want to make it really fancy, you can take your box and you can wrap some string around it, or I think I'm going to put some ribbon on it and just make it look just a little more presentable. It's even something you can give as a gift. So right now my cupcakes are frozen in the freezer, but the night before I will take them out, I'll put them in the fridge, let them thaw, and then in the morning I'll take them out and I'll quickly decorate them. It'll take me a minute. Some I think I'm gonna put like just berries on top to make it look fresh and inviting. I think some, to make them interesting for the kids, I'll put sprinkles on them, but you can decorate them so many different ways. The box is a serving plate. When you arrive, when people take the cupcakes, you have the cupcake liner, maybe just need a napkin to put underneath it, but you don't need a fork or a knife or anything to eat it. It's just simple and easy, and it's a crowd pleaser. Everybody, mostly everybody, likes a cupcake. I do tend to overcomplicate things. I could have just made one cake mix, one frosting, which is simple, easy, and fabulous. And I would suggest if you just want something really quick and easy, do that. And I think the mini ones are really the way to go too, because it just gives everyone just a little taste, and it's great if you've got kids around. So with summer upon us, I just thought this was a great, quick, easy thing to bring to whatever party you're going to, so I just thought I would share it. And that's it for today, you guys. Love you guys so much. Bye.